The night was quiet on the far human colony. The sky was dark, full of stars. People were finishing their work and returning to their homes. The colony always slept early, because the planet outside was dangerous. Strange sounds sometimes came from the forests and no one wanted to go near them at night. But this night was different. Far above, something moved through the sky. At first, people thought it was only a star, but then the light grew bigger and brighter. It was falling fast and fire followed behind it. The ground shook. A deep roar echoed through the valley. People ran outside, pointing up. "It's a ship," someone shouted. The burning object cut across the black sky, screaming like a wild beast. Sparks and smoke trailed behind it. Finally, with a massive crash, it struck the ground just outside the colony walls. The sound rolled like thunder and the earth trembled. Dust rose into the air. Animals in the distance howled and fled. The people of the colony stood frozen. Fear spread across their faces. No one wanted to go near it. At the edge of the colony, guards raised their weapons. They whispered among themselves. What if it's an enemy? What if it's an invasion? The colony had seen ships before. Pirates, raiders, and even soldiers from other worlds. But this ship looked different. It was small, almost broken before it even landed. Pieces of metal were scattered across the ground, glowing red from the heat. Smoke poured from its sides. The leader of the guard finally gave the order. "Check it, but be careful." A small group of men and women stepped forward. They walked slowly, weapons ready, eyes fixed on the strange wreck. The closer they came, the stronger the smell of burning metal grew. The air was hot and heavy, and then a sound came from inside, a weak cry. Everyone stopped. Their eyes went wide. It was not the sound of a soldier. It was not the sound of a monster. It was soft, fragile, almost like the cry of a child. The guards looked at each other, confused. One of them climbed over the broken hull and pulled open a heavy door. With a loud groan, the metal bent. A rush of smoke came out. And there in the darkness they saw her. She was small, smaller than any human child. Her skin was pale with a faint glow, as if light lived under it. Her eyes, big and round, shone faintly like blue fire. She clutched a broken piece of silver metal close to her chest. Her clothes were torn. Her face was dirty from smoke and tears. She looked up at the humans with fear. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. Only her glowing eyes begged silently. "Help me," the guard stepped back quickly. It's an alien child," one of them whispered. Murmurs spread as more colonists arrived. Soon a crowd gathered around the crash. They stared at the little alien girl as if she were a ghost. "Where did she come from?" someone asked. "Is she dangerous?" another said. "She must be part of some enemy plan," a third whispered. The alien girl trembled. She held the silver piece tighter and pressed it against her heart. No one moved closer. The colony leader arrived, an older man with a hard face. He pushed through the crowd and looked inside the wreck. His eyes narrowed as he saw the girl. "This is trouble," he said coldly. "We cannot keep her. She will bring danger to us all." The people nodded. Fear was stronger than pity. No one wanted to take responsibility, but still they could not look away. The girl was so small, so lost. Smoke rose behind her, making her glow like a strange light in the dark. She did not cry out. She did not scream. She only waited silent, as if she already knew no one would take her. Hand whispers grew louder. "She will eat our food. She will bring enemies to our gates. She is not one of us." The alien girl's chest rose and fell with shaky breaths. She blinked slowly, her glowing eyes full of fear and sadness. The colony stood frozen between fear and silence. Nobody moved. Nobody wanted her. The night wind blew across the wreckage, carrying the smell of ash. Somewhere far in the forest, an animal screamed. The girl curled her body tighter, as if the world itself wanted her gone. The humans watched, but did nothing. And so, in that first terrible moment after the crash, the truth became clear. The little alien girl had survived the fall. But in the eyes of the colony, she was already unwanted. The little alien girl sat on the ground, curled up near the wreck of her ship. The silver piece of metal still rested tight in her hands. The crowd around her grew larger, and so did the fear in every face. No one spoke to her. No one reached out a hand. They only stared, whispering words that cut sharper than blades. "She doesn't belong here. She will bring danger. Throw her out before it's too late." The girl lowered her glowing eyes, as if she understood every cruel word. She was silent, but inside her small chest her heart beat fast. The colony leader, an older man with gray hair and a voice like stone, stepped forward. His face carried no kindness. He looked down at the alien girl as if she were an insect. "This is not our problem," he said loudly so the whole colony could hear. "She is not human. She does not belong here. We cannot risk the safety of our people for this." The crowd murmured in agreement. Some nodded quickly, afraid to say otherwise. Fear was like fire. It spread fast and no one wanted to be burned. One woman stepped forward. Her voice trembled. "But she's just a child." The leader's eyes flashed. "A child? Do you not see her glowing eyes? Do you not see how strange she is? We don't know what she is capable of. She could be a weapon, placed here to destroy us." The woman lowered her head and stepped back. No one else dared to defend the alien girl. The guards moved closer. One of them pointed his weapon at the child. "Shall we remove her?" The little girl pressed her silver piece to her chest and trembled. Her lips moved, trying to form words, but only broken sounds came out. She had no voice strong enough to fight back. The crowd leaned in, curious, but none of them stepped forward. "She will eat our food. She will bring her enemies here. She is cursed." Every whisper stabbed into the silence like a knife. The girl's glowing eyes filled with water, but no tears fell. She only stared at the ground as if she knew her fate was already sealed. The leader lifted his hand. "Enough, we cannot keep her. Take her outside the walls. Leave her in the forest. The planet will deal with her." Gasps rose from some, but no one challenged him. The order was clear. The guards hesitated for a moment. Even they felt a small stab of guilt. She looked so weak, so fragile, so helpless. But orders were orders. One guard stepped forward, lowering his weapon. He reached out to grab her arm. The girl flinched. For the first time, her glowing eyes snapped upward. For a brief second, light flashed under her skin. A faint hum of energy passed through the air. The guard froze, his hand inches away. She did something," he shouted, pulling back quickly. The crowd stepped away in panic. Mothers pulled their children behind them. Men raised their weapons higher. "She has power," someone screamed. "She will kill us all," another shouted. Chaos filled the colony square. Fear turned into anger. The people no longer saw a child. They saw a monster. The girl's glow faded as quickly as it appeared. She lowered her head again, ashamed. She had not wanted to hurt anyone. She had only been afraid, but it was too late. The leader raised his voice stronger than before. "Do you see now? This is proof. She is dangerous. If she stays, she will destroy us. We must get rid of her tonight." The crowd roared in agreement. Fear had turned to hatred. The little alien girl hugged the silver piece tight against her chest. Her tiny fingers shook. Her breath came in short gasps. She did not understand their language fully, but she understood their faces. They hated her. They did not want her. The guards closed in again, slower this time, weapons aimed. The people formed a circle around her, keeping distance but watching closely. The girl's glowing eyes darted left and right, searching for a way to run, but there was none. The colony walls were high, the gates locked. She was trapped. She lowered her head again and whispered something in her broken tongue, words no one understood. It sounded like a prayer, a call for someone who would never come. The leader gave his final command. "Take her away." The guards prepared to seize her. The crowd waited for the end. Mothers clutched their children. Men held their weapons ready. Everyone thought it was over, but then, from the back of the crowd, a new voice spoke, a calm, steady voice. "I'll take her." The square fell silent. Every head turned. The speaker was a young human man, standing tall but alone. His eyes were fixed on the alien girl, not with fear, but with something different, something no one else had shown. Compassion. The alien girl slowly looked up at him, hope flickering for the first time in her glowing eyes, and in that moment the story began to change. The square was silent. The colony leader's order still hung in the air. "Take her away." The guards were ready to drag the alien girl outside the walls. The crowd waited for it to be over. No one wanted to look at her glowing eyes anymore, and then one voice cut through the silence. "I'll take her." The words were calm but strong. Every head turned at once. The speaker was a young human man. His clothes were dusty from work, his hands rough with grease and metal stains. He was not a soldier, not a leader, not a man with power. He was only a mechanic, someone who fixed broken machines for the colony. But now, he stood tall, eyes steady, looking at the little alien girl as if she was not a threat, but a person. The crowd gasped. Whispers rushed like wind through the people. He's crazy. Why would he do this? He will bring death on himself, the colony leader frowned. His voice turned sharp. What did you say? The young man did not look away. I said, I'll take her. She will stay with me. The alien girl lifted her head slowly. Her glowing blue eyes blinked in surprise. For the first time since the crash, she saw something different in a human face, kindness. The leader stepped forward. His boots struck the ground hard. Do you understand what you are saying, boy? She is not human. She is dangerous. She is unwanted. If you take her in, you put us all at risk. The young man's voice stayed calm. You don't know that. She's just a child. The leader's face grew dark. Children don't glow. Children don't make machines shake with power. She will betray you. She will destroy you. But the mechanic shook his head. I don't believe that. Look at her. She's scared, not dangerous. She doesn't need punishment. She needs protection. The crowd murmured louder now. Some shook their heads, calling him a fool. Others looked uncertain, caught between fear and guilt. The alien girl hugged her silver piece tighter. Her eyes never left the young man. She didn't understand all the words, but she understood his tone. His voice was different. His voice was safe. The guards waited for the leader's next command. The air was heavy, tense, ready to explode. Finally, the leader growled, If you take her, her life is your responsibility. Her danger is yours to bear. If she brings harm, your blood will be on your own hands. The young man nodded once. Then I accept. The crowd gasped again. He was serious. He would not back down. The guards lowered their weapons slowly. The leader's order had been given. If the fool wanted the alien, let him have her, but whispers spread like fire through the crowd. He won't last a week. She will kill him. He's mad. The young man ignored them all. He stepped forward carefully, slow so she would not be afraid. The alien girl tensed, her glowing eyes wide, but she did not pull away. He crouched in front of her, lowering himself to her level. His hands were empty, open, showing no threat. Hey, he said softly, voice gentle. You don't have to be scared. You're safe now. The girl blinked. She tilted her head slightly as if trying to understand. Slowly, she loosened her grip on the silver piece. Not much, but enough to show she was listening. The young man reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of bread. He placed it on the ground in front of her, then pushed it gently closer. The girl's glowing eyes flicked from the bread to his face. Her tiny hands trembled. Finally, she reached forward, snatched it up, and held it close. She sniffed it carefully, then took a small bite. The crowd watched in silence. The young man smiled softly. See, it's okay. I'll take care of you. For the first time, the alien girl's body relaxed just a little. The colony leader spat on the ground. Fools save fools. Don't expect help when she turns on you. Then he turned and left, the guards following behind. Slowly, the crowd began to break apart, though their whispers and angry eyes stayed fixed on the young man. But he didn't care. He stood and offered his hand to the little alien girl. She hesitated, staring at it, unsure. Then, with shaking fingers, she placed her small glowing hand in his. A simple gesture, but powerful. The two of them walked away from the wreck, the crowd still whispering behind them. The alien girl clutched her silver piece with one hand, the mechanic's rough hand with the other. She looked up at him, still silent, but her eyes shone with a faint spark of hope. For the first time since the crash, she was not completely alone. But as the stars burned above the colony and shadows stretched across the land, one truth became clear. This choice had changed everything, and soon, the danger that followed her would arrive. The mechanic's small home sat on the edge of the colony. It was not big, not beautiful. The walls were made of metal sheets and the roof creaked when the wind blew. But to the little alien girl, it was more than a house. It was the first place where she was not pushed away. She sat quietly in the corner, her glowing eyes watching every move the man made. He tried to make her comfortable. He gave her food, water, and a blanket to keep her warm. She did not speak, but she copied his actions carefully, as if learning by watching. At first, the man thought she was only shy, but soon he realized she was far more than that. She was learning fast. The first time he noticed it was during dinner. He held up his cup and said, "Water." Slowly, she repeated the sound in her soft, broken voice. Water. His eyes widened. She was not just repeating, it was almost perfect. The next day she pointed to the same cup and whispered, "Water." Each day she learned new words, simple ones at first, food, door, light, but her memory was sharp. She remembered everything. The man was amazed. "You're smarter than you look, aren't you?" he said with a smile. The girl tilted her head, not fully understanding his words, but she smiled back for the first time. A small, fragile smile glowing as bright as her eyes, but her mind was not the only strange thing about her. One evening, as the man worked on a broken machine in his workshop, danger struck. The heavy frame of the machine slipped from its place. With a loud crack, the metal began to fall, straight toward him. He tried to jump aside, but it was too heavy, too fast. His heart raced. He thought it was the end, and then it stopped. The metal froze in midair, inches from his head. A bright glow filled the room. The air hummed with strange energy. The man turned and saw the little alien girl standing there. Her small hands were raised, glowing with blue light. Her eyes blazed brighter than ever. She was holding the machine up. The man's breath caught in his throat. Slowly, she moved her hands to the side. The heavy frame slid away as if it weighed nothing, landing gently on the floor. The glow faded. Her body trembled. She looked at him, her face pale with fear. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then the man whispered, "You saved me." The girl hugged her arms close, as if ashamed. She shook her head and muttered in her broken tongue. Her voice trembled, like she feared he would hate her for what she had done. But he did not. He knelt in front of her and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. Don't be afraid. You're not a monster. You're special." Her glowing eyes blinked. She searched his face, looking for anger, but found none. Slowly, her fear eased. Word of the event spread quickly. Neighbors had seen the flash of light through the windows. Soon, whispers ran across the colony. She used power again. She lifted a machine like it was paper. She is dangerous. The colony leader heard the stories too. His anger grew. "I warned him," he said coldly. "That creature is not safe. If she loses control, we will all suffer." Fear grew stronger in the hearts of the people. But inside the mechanic's home, things were different. The girl began to trust him more. She copied his laughter. She repeated his words. She even tried to help with small tasks, carrying tools and holding lights. Still, the man saw the fear in her eyes whenever her glow appeared. She would hide her hands, bow her head as if her powers were a curse. One night, as they sat by a dim lantern, he spoke softly. "Don't hide. Your gift is not evil. It saved my life, maybe. It will save more lives one day." The girl touched the silver piece of metal she always carried. Her eyes grew distant, sad. She whispered one word in her broken voice. "Alone." The man shook his head. "Not anymore. You're not alone now." But the colony did not see it that way. To them, her powers were not a blessing. They were a threat. Parents warned their children to stay away. Workers glared at the mechanic as he passed. Some even shouted at him in anger. "Your alien will bring death. She will destroy us all." The man ignored them, but he knew the fear was growing. It was only a matter of time before something happened, and deep in his heart he wondered, who was she really? Where did this power come from? The little alien girl held many secrets, and soon the truth would begin to come out. The alien girl sat by the small window of the mechanic's home. Night stretched across the sky, filled with quiet stars. She pressed the silver piece of metal to her chest and whispered words in her broken tongue, words the human could not understand. The mechanic watched her carefully. For days he had wondered about that piece of metal. She never let it go. She held it while she ate, while she slept, even when she was afraid. It was more than a toy. It was a secret. Finally, he asked softly, "What is that? Why is it so important to you?" The girl turned her glowing eyes toward him. For a long time, she did not speak. Her lips trembled as if she was holding something heavy inside. Then slowly, in her broken but growing English, she said, "Home." The mechanic's heart tightened. He knelt beside her. "That piece, it is from your home?" She nodded. Her small hands tightened on the silver shard. Her eyes filled with sadness. It was the first time she tried to tell her story. Her words were clumsy, broken, but clear enough. Piece by piece, he began to understand. Her world had been attacked. Dark ships had come, burning cities, breaking skies. She had powers, strange powers that even her own people feared. When she was young, They whispered that she was different, dangerous, unnatural. Her parents tried to protect her, but the fear was too strong. The elders said she would bring ruin to them all, and when the enemy came, they gave her a broken ship and sent her away. Go. Hide. Never come back, they told her. She was just a child, but they cast her into the stars, alone. The mechanic listened in silence. Every word stabbed his heart. This little girl had lost everything, her home, her family, her people. She had been unwanted not just here, but everywhere, and yet she still held on to that silver piece. The mechanic took the shard gently, turning it in the light. It was not just metal. Strange symbols were carved into it. Lines, circles, shapes that glowed faintly when touched. He had seen marks like these before in old records of alien royalty. His breath caught. This is not just from your home. This is a crest, a royal sign. The girl looked at him with wide eyes. She nodded once slowly. Then she whispered a word, soft but full of meaning. Princess. The mechanic froze. The truth hit him like lightning. She was not only a lost child. She was the last of her kind. A princess hunted by enemies, feared by her own people. He looked at her differently now. She was not just a burden. She was a secret greater than the colony could ever imagine. If anyone discovered what she truly was, they would not just throw her out. They would kill her to avoid bringing war upon themselves. The mechanic lowered his voice. You must keep this hidden. No one can know. If they find out, they will not just fear you. They will destroy you. The girl's glowing eyes filled with tears. She whispered again, alone. The mechanic shook his head and placed his hand gently over hers. Not anymore. You're not alone. I will protect you. No matter what. Her small hand trembled, but she held on to his. For the first time, her fear faded into something else. Trust. But outside the walls of the colony, shadows were moving. Dark ships drifted through the sky, silent as predators. Strange signals whispered through the night. The enemies who had destroyed her home were still searching. They wanted her back, not to save her, but to finish what they started, and soon they would find the colony. Inside, the girl curled under her blanket, clutching the silver piece. The mechanic sat awake, staring into the darkness, his thoughts heavy. He now carried a truth larger than himself. A truth that could change everything. She was not only a little alien girl, she was a princess with the power to protect or destroy the world around her. And though he had promised to protect her, deep inside he wondered, could he really shield her from the danger that was coming? The night stretched on. The stars glowed above. And far in the sky, hidden by distance, her hunters drew closer. The hidden truth had been spoken. But it was only the beginning. The colony was quiet that morning. Workers moved through the fields. Children ran between houses and guards stood at the walls. It looked peaceful, but above, hidden in the deep sky, something dark was moving. 3 ships drifted through the clouds, sleek, black, and silent. They carried the mark of destruction. These were not traders, not travelers. They were hunters, and they had finally found what they were searching for, the little alien girl. Inside his workshop, the mechanic worked with his tools, while the girl sat nearby, humming softly to herself. She copied his actions, sometimes handing him a wrench, sometimes repeating his words. For a moment, life felt almost normal. But then the air outside changed. A shadow passed over the sun. The ground trembled faintly. The mechanic froze. He knew that sound. It was not thunder. He stepped outside and looked to the sky. His heart dropped. Dark ships, descending fast. The alarm bell rang through the colony. Guards shouted, running to the walls. Mothers pulled their children inside. Panic spread like fire. Everyone knew. This was no ordinary visit. The colony leader stormed into the square, his face hard with fear. Enemies are here, he shouted. To the defenses. Get the weapons ready. But whispers rose quickly among the people. Their eyes turned toward the mechanic's house. They came for the girl. It's her fault. She brought them here. The mechanic returned to his home, his chest tight. The alien girl looked at him, her glowing eyes wide with fear. She pressed the silver shard to her chest and whispered in her broken tongue. She understood too. Her hunters had found her. The mechanic knelt down, gripping her shoulders. Listen to me. Stay close. I will not let them take you. Her eyes shimmered with tears, but she nodded. The first blast hit the colony wall. A boom shook the ground and fire tore through the gates. Screams filled the air as people scattered. The dark ships hovered above, releasing troops in black armor. Their weapons glowed with deadly light. The colony fought back, but they were weak compared to the invaders. Buildings burned. Smoke covered the sky. The leader shouted, "Give them what they want. Hand over the alien child and they will leave us alone." The crowd turned in fury. They pointed at the mechanic's house. "Give her to them!" they cried. "Save the colony." Guards pushed through the chaos, heading toward the workshop. Inside, the mechanic pulled the girl behind him. His heart raced. He knew the colony would betray her. He knew they would hand her over. The girl trembled, whispering, "Alone." "Again, no," he said firmly, standing tall. "Not alone. Not while I live." The door burst open. Soldiers from the colony aimed their weapons. "Step aside," one shouted. "Hand her over or we will take her by force." The mechanic's voice shook, but his eyes were steady. "No, if you want her, you go through me." The soldiers hesitated. Behind them, the colony leader shouted, "Fool! You doom us all!" But the mechanic did not move. Then the black-armored invaders arrived. They marched through the flames, their strange weapons glowing, their voices hissing through helmets. The leader of the hunters stepped forward, tall and cold. His mask reflected the firelight. He raised his hand, pointing at the girl. "There," he growled in a deep alien tongue. "The lost one. The cursed child. Hand her over or all will die," the crowd gasped. The truth was clear. The invaders had not come for war. They had come for her. The alien girl clutched the mechanic's arm. Her glowing eyes filled with terror. She shook her head, whispering, "No, no." The mechanic stood between her and the enemy, his voice hard as steel. "You will not take her." The hunter's mask tilted. "You protect her? Then you will fall with her." A weapon lifted. Energy hummed. The crowd screamed. But before the shot fired, the little alien girl stepped forward. Her small body glowed brighter than ever before. Light poured from her skin, from her eyes, from her tiny hands. The ground shook. A wave of force exploded outward, throwing the hunters back. Flames bent in the wind of her power. The mechanic shielded his face, but he did not let go of her hand. The crowd gasped in shock. The girl stood tall, her eyes burning like blue fire. For the first time, she did not look weak. She looked powerful. The hunters rose slowly, stunned but not defeated. Their leader growled, "She cannot be allowed to live." The colony trembled. The mechanic held the girl's hand tighter. He knew this was only the beginning. The enemy had come. The colony was in danger, and now, the fate of everyone rested in the small hands of the little alien girl. The colony burned. Flames licked the night sky. Smoke rolled across the ground and screams echoed from every street. The black-armored hunters moved forward, weapons glowing, their eyes locked on the little alien girl. The people of the colony huddled behind walls and broken machines, whispering in terror. Some shouted, "Give her to them!" Others prayed the invaders would leave. But no one stepped forward to fight, no one, except the mechanic. He stood with the girl at his side, his body trembling but his voice steady. "You will not take her," he told the hunters. The alien leader's mask turned toward him, cold and merciless. "Then you both will die." The invaders raised their weapons. Blue light gathered at the tips, ready to strike. The girl clutched the mechanic's hand. Her glowing eyes filled with fear, but also something new, determination. She whispered, "No, hurt." And then her body ignited with light. A wave of power burst out from her chest, spreading across the square. The ground shook and the flames bent away. The hunters staggered, shielding their faces as the energy slammed into them. The mechanic fell to his knees, shielding his eyes, but he did not let go of her hand. When the light faded, the hunters were still standing, but the colony now stared in silence. They had seen her power not as a curse, but as something mighty. The alien leader growled, "She is unstable. She must be destroyed." He raised his hand again. His soldiers moved in, surrounding her. The mechanic pulled her behind him, ready to fight with nothing but his bare hands. But the girl stepped forward instead. Her small frame looked fragile, yet her eyes burned like twin stars. She lifted her hands. The air around her shimmered. The hunters fired. Bolts of blue energy shot across the square. The crowd screamed, but none of the blasts reached her. A shield of light bloomed around the girl, a shimmering dome that stretched over the mechanic. The houses, even the frightened colonists. The energy bolts hit the shield and vanished like sparks in water. The people gasped. Their fear turned to awe. The girl's voice rang out louder than ever before. Broken but strong. Stop, no. More. The ground cracked beneath her feet. The hunters stumbled, their weapons shaking in their hands. The leader snarled and tried again, firing a storm of energy. But the shield only grew brighter, stronger, wider. The mechanic stared at her in amazement. She was not just defending herself. She was protecting everyone. The colonists, once full of hate, now watched in silence as the little alien girl fought to save them. With a final cry, she raised her hands high. A wave of light exploded outward, slamming into the invaders. Their armor cracked. Their weapons shattered. One by one they fell, thrown back by the force of her power. The leader struggled to rise, but his mask split, sparks flying. He looked at her in disbelief. You are stronger than we thought. Then he collapsed, his soldiers retreating to the broken ships. The sky filled with fire as the hunters fled, beaten by a child they had once called cursed. Silence fell. The shield faded. The girl's glow dimmed. She swayed, weak from the power she had unleashed. The mechanic caught her before she could fall. He held her close, whispering, "You did it. You saved us." The colonists stepped out from their hiding places. Their eyes were wide, not with fear but with wonder. The leader of the colony, once so cold, could not speak. He had seen the truth with his own eyes. The people whispered now in different tones. She saved us. She protected everyone. She is not a curse. She is our protector. The little alien girl lifted her head. Her glowing eyes searched the crowd. For so long, all she had seen was rejection, hatred, fear. But now she saw something new, respect, hope. The mechanic smiled down at her. His voice was gentle, full of pride. "You are not alone anymore. You are family now." Her lips trembled. Then slowly she smiled back, a small, fragile smile, but filled with light. The colony watched in silence. And for the first time they did not see her as a monster. They saw her as one of their own. The night ended with ashes on the ground and stars above. The danger was not gone forever. Enemies might return. Shadows might rise again. But one thing had changed. The little alien girl, once unwanted, had found a place where she belonged. And beside her stood the human who had said 4 simple words that changed everything. "I'll take her."